Hello, this is Instructor Williams. I'm the Technology Instructor for the Antioch Public Library District. Thank you for tuning in to our YouTube channel. Today we will look at Microsoft Publisher Basics, Part 1. In this video, we will create a basic publisher file and we will tour the publisher ribbon and menus. Since Microsoft Publisher is relatively new to the Microsoft Office suite, you would wonder, what can we do with Publisher? Here are some examples of what we can do with Microsoft Publisher. We can make greeting cards and invitations. We can create calendars. We can create and format books for publication. We can make signs, posters, and home decor. And we can make brochures. Creating a basic publisher file. To create a basic publisher file, the first thing we want to do is open up Microsoft Publisher. So we'll go here, find Publisher 2016, click on that. In a basic file, we will start with a blank. Double click, and here we've created our first publisher file. We can see at the top it's Publication 1, that's the generic title for it. Publisher ribbon and menus. Like all of the other software in Microsoft Office, Publisher has a ribbon at the top, and the ribbon is also broken into groups. We can see here under the Home tab, we have the Clipboard group, the Font group, the Paragraph group, Styles, Objects group, Arrange group, and Editing. Like in Word and PowerPoint and Excel, this first group is relatively the same. It's the Clipboard group. It's where we can copy and paste and where we can cut and paste different text or items into the document. Next to that, we have the familiar Font group, which deals with how the text is going to look in the document, with bold options, italicizing options, underlining, subscripting, superscripting, text size, text color, style of text. Then we have the Paragraph group, which is very similar to what we see in Microsoft Word in how we can arrange the text. So we have the bullet points, the numbers list, the indenting. We can increase and decrease indents. We can do a document left justified, centered, right justified, block printing. We can even deal with spacing parameters. Styles allows us to look at different styles for the texting. Objects deal with things that we would put into the document. We have a quick access list of objects here. We have drawing a text box, inserting pictures, creating a table, and inserting shapes. Then we have Arrange, and this allows us to arrange the material on each page, whether we want to layer something and have something brought to the forefront or the background. We can align it. We can edit arrangements by groups. We can ungroup things. We can rotate items. And then editing is some of the fine-tuning. We can find text that we're looking for. We can replace text. We can select, and that's the ribbon for the Home tab. The next tab we have is the Insert tab. And like in all the other software, it deals with inserting things into the document. Our Page group deals with inserting pages and catalog pages into the document. We have a Tables group that inserts the tables. We have an Illustrations group where anything that's illustrated can be inserted into the document, be it pictures from our computer, pictures from the internet, shapes. You can even create picture placeholders. Then we have building blocks. We can put parts of the page together. We can create calendars. We can put borders and accents on it. And we can even format our document for achievements and certifications. The Text group deals with inserting different forms of text. We have drawing a text box. We have business information. If we look at the description, We can add our contact information in an easy-to-update format. We have word art. We can add some artistic flair to the document using words in different designs, shapes, and formats. We can insert files into the document. We can insert symbols. We can insert the date and time, and we can put objects in there. As the description says, embedded objects are documents and other files you have inserted into this document. Instead of having separate files, sometimes it's easier to keep them all embedded in a document. We can insert links, like a hyperlink or a bookmark, and headers and footers. We can create headers for the top of the page, footers for the bottom of the page, and insert page number for multiple pages. Then we have the Page Design tab, and this deals with how the page will be designed or laid out. We can change the templates if we want. We can go through the page setup, very similar to Microsoft Word and Excel, where we can create margins and change the settings. We can change page orientation from portrait to landscape. We can alter the size of the document. For layout, we can put together guides. We can have it aligned to the guides, have it aligned to objects. We have pages, where we can delete pages, we can rename pages, we can move pages, we can rearrange part of the document. Schemes deals with the color schemes of our document, of the series of related colors that will enhance the visual effects of our document. And then we have page background, where we can change maybe the background color if we want, to give it a little bit more flair, a little bit more texture to it. And then we have master pages, which allows us to do some master editing. Our next tab is the Mailings tab. And the Mailings tab deals with putting this document together in a way that can be sent to a person or persons that we're going to share it with. If we were doing a wedding invitation, maybe we would put it all together in Publisher and send it out in an email format. So we would do mail merge, we would do email merge, which would allow us to personalize the information given a database. It's a little more on the advanced side. We can select the recipient, so it will automatically email them through Outlook. We can edit the recipient list. Then we have the Write and Insert Fields category. Now this is grayed out because we don't have anything set up right now, but you can insert merge fields, which we could talk about in a more advanced class. Address blocks. Put together a greeting line for each person. Insert pictures. You can insert personalized hyperlinks and deal with some of the formatting. Preview results will help us to look at how things are overall. We can look for recipients. We can exclude certain recipients. We can finish and merge it up, and that way we can send it out digitally through email to people. Our next tab is the Review tab. Under the Review tab, it's looking at things to fine-tune the presentation. So here we have the spell checking option. We can do some research, and this says if we want to explore something further, we can use resources like dictionaries, encyclopedias, and translation services to get what we need. We also have access to a built-in thesaurus. So if we find a word that we like, but we think there might be a better word that's similar to it, we can look at the thesaurus and find alternative options. And then we have language. We have translate a selected text, and we can choose the language which to translate it into. A little side note, the translation does not work well for massive groups of text. It's really good for word-to-word glosses, but if you use the translation for an entire sentence, it might not translate well into the other language. And then we have the View tab, and this deals with the overall look of the document, either when we're working with it or when it's finally done and prepped. We have the View section here, we have a normal view, and we have a master page set up. We can even deal with the layout. Are we dealing with a single page? Or are we going to deal with a two-page spread? We can choose to show certain elements in the document, like boundaries, guides, fields, rulers, page navigation, a scratch area, a graphics manager, and baselines. Zoom deals with zooming in and out of the document. Right now we're at 74%. We could choose to go by page width. So the width of the page is pretty much the width of the screen, and that puts us at 202%. We can go back to 100%. We can do whole page. Whole page is the 74%, which is the default setting. If we didn't want to use these commands here, we also have a quick access slide bar down here in the bottom right that allows us to zoom in manually and pick our percentages. So I'm going to come back to whole page. And then we have window. And this allows us to stack our open windows of the document so we can see different parts at the same time. Say we're working on a 5-page document and we need to look at page 1 and page 5 for reference points. We can do an arrangement and create different windows that show page 1, page 5, and the different areas that we need. And this deals with arranging those windows. So that's the basic tour of the ribbon in Microsoft Publisher. The very last tab that we're going to look at is the very first one, the File tab. When we click on the File tab, we are introduced to a new screen, which has more recently become known as the Backstage view, because it deals with some of the technical information of the document. So if we look in the left-hand area, we have a series of options that we can look at. It's almost like a table of contents. So we're in the Info section, and this tells us some of the technical information about our document. We can edit the business information, run design checkers, manage embed tools. It tells us the file size, when it was created, who created it, who has access to it. New would create a new publisher document. Open is where we would go to open an existing document that we've worked on before or that we have on our computer. Save saves the document. Save as allows us to save the document with a name and specify where it will be saved. Print allows us to print the document, and it gives us all of the print parameters that our printer allows for. We can choose to share it via email. We can send the current page, we can send the whole thing as an attachment, we can send it as a PDF or an XPS. We can export it, and exporting allows us to either create a PDF or publish it in HTML, which is the language for web pages. So if you're writing a blog or you're going to post this in a blog, you might want to publish it as an HTML so it looks right on the internet. You can also change the file type. You can save it for photo printing. So if you're doing a lot of graphics, then you want to change the parameters for printing so that it looks as best as possible. You can save it for a commercial printer, and you can save it to another computer. The close closes out the entire document. You can say don't save, and it closes that document out, but it does not close out the program. So we can see here we still have publication 2 open because we closed out publication 1. And then at the bottom are a little bit more advanced areas when you have an account with OneDrive or you have Office 365. And then you have different options for setting up the publisher's parameters. So that's a basic tour of the ribbon for Microsoft Publisher 2016. Here is a summary of this video. First, we created a basic publisher file. Then we took a tour of the publisher ribbon and the menus. Once again, this is Instructor Williams, and I would like to thank you on behalf of the Antioch Public Library District. For more technology-related videos and other Antioch Library content, please click the subscribe button.